morning and welcome back to Sandygate Stars. It's a privilege and so fun to be able to come to you guys online and for us to meet like this. Unfortunately, we can't meet together in person, but we can still do stuff online, and that's so much fun. Did you enjoy last week's session when we were looking at Noah in the ark and God's promise that he was never going to destroy the world because he loves us so much? Well, this week I want to look at another person who has to focus on keeping their word and keeping their promise. I'm talking about somebody called Jonah. Jonah was asked by God to go to Nineveh. He was asked to go there to warn the people that they were being really bad and they needed to stop being bad and focus on listening to God, or otherwise something terrible was going to happen to them. But Jonah didn't want to go. He knew that the people in Nineveh were bad. He knew that it would be very dangerous for him to go. So he decided he was going to run away. But God had other plans for him, and we're going to find out in this story.
Heroes of the Bible, Jonah. This is Jonah. Jonah was a prophet. That means it was his job to tell people what God told him to say.
Yep.
One day, God told Jonah to go to Nineveh because the people of Nineveh were doing bad things. But instead, Jonah ran away.
Where are you, please?
And went to the port to board a ship, going the other way. He was hoping to get away from God. He sailed for a place called Tarshish. While he was at sea, God sent a great and powerful wind over the sea that caused a storm that seemed like it would break the ship apart. Fearing for their lives, the sailors tried everything they could think of to save the ship. Meanwhile, Jonah was sound asleep, so the captain went down and said, "How can you sleep at a time like this? Get up and pray to your God. Maybe he will help us." Then the crew figured out that Jonah was the reason for the storm. And they asked him, "Who are you? Why is this happening to us?" Jonah told them who he was and that he worshipped the one true God who made the sea. Then he told the sailors to throw him in the sea so the storm would stop.
No, why?
The sailors still tried to escape the storm, but it was no use. So they asked God for forgiveness and threw Jonah into the sea. The storm stopped at once.
Whoa!
The sailors were amazed at God's power and they vowed to serve him. Now God sent a great fish to swallow Jonah.
Great.
And Jonah was inside the fish for 3 days and nights. Jonah prayed to God from inside the fish, and God ordered the fish to spit Jonah out.
Yuck.
God told Jonah again to go to the city of Nineveh to tell them what God had said about them.
I get it.
This time, Jonah obeyed God and went to Nineveh to deliver God's message. The people of Nineveh stopped doing bad things and turned to God. They were saved because they listened to the message that God had given Jonah.
So Jonah did go in the end. He went, he kept his promise, he said, "I'm going to do the right thing." And God rewarded him, and he saved the people of Nineveh, and he saved Jonah. It's so important that we keep our word and we try to be honest, even when we think it's scary and difficult. That's what Jonah had to deal with. He thought it was going to be scary and difficult to do what God had asked him to. But in the end, he realized it was the right thing to do. So I encourage all of us to try and do what we think is right, even if we think it's scary or difficult. And we've got a craft to help us remember this story. So our craft this week is this. So we're going to be making the whale and Jonah so that we can remember this story. So if you want to come and pick your craft pack up from school, or you might have already and you have it in front of you, and that's brilliant. So there should be some instructions in there and all the kit you need. And again, I'd love it if you could send in any pictures you have of your craft so that we can see what you've been getting up to. Send them into the school and they'll forward them on to me. I miss you guys so much, and I wish that we could spend more time together at school doing these activities. If you've got any questions or any ideas of things that I can be doing to help you at this time, then please do email the school and they'll forward it on to me. I'd love to do anything I can to support you both in yourselves and in your faith. Bye.
Let's meet Jonah, who told the people what God wanted him to say. God told Jonah to go to Nineveh, but he went the other way. Jonah got on a boat and sailed into the sea. God sent a big storm while Jonah was sleeping. The sailors were scared and asked, why would this be? Then Jonah said, the storm is because of me. The sailors threw Jonah over the side of the boat. The storm stopped at once and the ship was kept afloat. Jonah was swallowed by a great big fish. He was in its belly going swish, swish, swish. The fish swam along for 3 days and nights. Jonah said he was sorry and that he would make it right. So God ordered the fish to spit Jonah out. And Jonah told the people what God was all about. When the people of Nineveh heard what he had to say, they stopped doing bad things and changed their wicked ways. God saved the people of Nineveh from a really bad fate. Jonah learned to obey God and what it was like to be fish bait.